this is the very exciting group that we're on this side for master data governance. Is that what everybody thinks here? Good. Hopefully, I'm nice and awake with coffee because I just flew in from the U.S. yesterday, so I'm still feeling the effects a little bit. But I'm really happy to present to you guys today. Actually, I've done several of these types of talks, but mostly in the U.S. And usually I work for Tetra Pak. And mostly I have to spend 10 minutes just to explain to them what Tetra Pak is, because most people in the US don't know. But I'm guessing in Sweden that most of you probably know what Tetra Pak is. So, what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit about the introduction to just briefly about Tetra Pak, but really about our master data journey that we've taken thus far. And talk a little bit about, what is the strategy that we've been working on, and when it comes to master data governance, and how we're approaching S4 and getting ready for S4. This is a particularly important topic because when Tetra Pak starts to go into moving our business towards SAP S4, that's going to be probably one of the largest transformations we will have undergone in the last 20 years. So we need to be ready for it. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we have done with SAP MDG, the governance platform, because we've done some additional, let's say, automation, which has some benefits, especially in getting ready for S4. And then I'll have plenty of time for questions. I purposely didn't want to have a lot of slides, so. Okay, so briefly, this is Tetra Pak. We basically make packaging for liquid foods. We help keep food safe and available for people all around the world. But behind those packages also are a lot of machines to make the packages, as well as machines to process the food itself. We make a lot of processing equipment, homogenizers, pasteurizers, fat separators, all sorts of neat little machines that we make. And of course, spare parts that go behind that to maintain the machines, and services to maintain the machines. In terms of, what does Tetra Pak look at from a data perspective, from a master data perspective, you can see here that we're big, but we're not that big. One big thing that's nice for us is we're one single instance of SAP ECC. So of course that simplifies the situation. We don't have multiple ERP systems that we have to reconcile like most companies. I know that we're in a bit of a unique position there. But that is a decision we took quite a few years ago. But we still have over 500 plants. We're in over 100 countries. So we have a pretty decent footprint. We have millions of materials. So materials is for sure is the biggest headache that I have. But in terms of customers and vendors, we're not very big. I mean, 50,000 customers, 50,000 active suppliers. These are relatively modest numbers compared to especially B2C type companies. In terms of our master data journey, we've been on the master data journey for a long, long time. Tetra Pak, from a very, very high level, I would say our executive suite recognized the importance of master data way back in the early 2000s. Mostly this was a little bit of circumstance. One of our largest customers, I believe it was Nestle at the time, had a scare with baby formula. It was making some kids sick. And it turned out not to be us, thankfully. But the problem is that when they came to us, we couldn't tell them definitively that it was not us. We didn't have traceability. Also, at the same time, we had done several post-ERP implementation projects, and they had failed. And they had failed for the typical reasons. The master data was not thought of and taken care of in a good way. And so at that point in time, our C-suite decided to really launch our Global Master Data Initiative, where we truly assigned ownership. We mapped out all of our master data objects. We documented all of our business rules. And so we had done that very early on. Then we kind of moved into kind of a master data management phase, where we focused much more on stewardship. We focused less on the maintenance itself. We built some regional teams around the world, and we started to have greater focus. In around 2014, 2015, that's when we decided to really industrialize. And that's when we made the decision to move to the SAP MDG platform. This was an attempt by us to really kind of modernize our approach to master data and to really professionalize it. We had thousands and thousands of business workflows, and we wanted to simplify this. Now we're at a situation where we have less than 100 business workflows, all of them managed by SAP MDG. And this is a good situation for us. But this has been a journey that has taken us the last 4 or 5 years to really make happen. Now we have 4 domains implemented with both finance, customer, vendor, and materials. Okay, so if you look at the strategy that we go after, I stole this slide from SAP. It sounds really simple. Get clean, get clean, stay clean, keep clean, right? Clean up your data and keep it clean, and that's the best thing you can do to get ready for S4. It is true, though. This is definitely what we need to do, because if we go into S4 with unclean data, then it's going to make a very difficult situation that much more difficult. So this is something that we are looking at. But there are some complications in trying to do this. One of the things here is that the organizations are overloaded with a lot of big decisions. In our case, we're looking at a greenfield implementation of S4. So we're fundamentally looking at S4 as an opportunity to redefine our approach to business. And we're questioning all of our global business processes. We're looking at the full thing. And the problem here is that people don't have the bandwidth to actually answer some of the, let's say, more data-driven questions. And understandably so, because there's some bigger company questions that have to be answered first. The other thing is, like I said, the one good thing is that I think that the whole company recognizes that keeping our data clean and getting it clean is critical for the success of the overall effort. So being able to justify resources and these types of things, I think is not going to be that difficult. But of course, right now, when we're still trying to run the business of today, and trying to make tomorrow happen at the same time, that's a very difficult conflict to try to resolve. Trying to get resources freed up so that you can cleanse the data, do some proactive cleaning, so that you can get ready for a project that's 2 years down the road. It's not very easy to do. So this is kind of the tough situation that we felt ourselves in. I wanted to just share with you, this is our master data strategy. We recently redid this last year. And this is just to give you a flavor for kind of put things in context of what we're looking to go after. One of the things that we want to do is we want to reinforce our foundation. This is something in governance you have to do over and over again. We want to expand our governance beyond just the typical, let's say, ECC, SAP transactional master data. We would like it to cover other things. We need to always reaffirm ownership within a company. Ownership's not something that you can just do and it's done. It's something that you have to always continuously do. So, and then on top of that, one thing that we need to do is make sure that our business rules are really reachable by all the people throughout the company. And that's, I would say, probably one of our big failings right now. We have a lot of business rules. We've documented them. They're quite advanced, I would say. But at the same time, not most people don't have access to them. And even if they did, they probably wouldn't understand them the way that they're documented. And this is something that, in order for business rules to really be effective, you really need to have people understand them throughout the enterprise. We also are looking to improve our product structure. So this is some more fundamental things we need to do around products. We're looking at building more agile data governance approaches, especially as we introduce new services rather quickly. We need to be able to respond rather quickly. One of the things that with governance is that we tend to be rather slow. Trying to get owners, trying to get workflows, business rules, all these things in place takes time. And when you're trying to move business quickly, that's maybe not seen as a good thing. It's seen as a hindrance. And then finally, we need to finish our MDG implementation. I said we put it in place, but the problem is we have so many material types that we're still putting in some of the more difficult ones, especially any materials that you design yourself that are basically designed in CAD systems, and there's a lot of CAD ERP integration. That's where you have a lot of difficulty with some of these systems. Okay, so MDG automation. So this is one of the things, when we went after SAP MDG, we decided that we didn't want to just use it as a workflow system. We didn't want to just put it in place and have to still rely on a lot of people, that are experts that know how to maintain the objects. Instead, what we did in the materials case is we leveraged and built a series of derivation boxes. And what we're doing with that is, for the material, you have a few pieces of information that are submitted. And then from there, a UNSPSC code is assigned to the material. Once that's done, a lot of things are derived. In fact, half of the material master is derived. 45 fields out of 90 fields are automatically derived once you have those pieces of information. That means half of your material master automatically is 100% correct, which is a big deal. And on top of it, we tend to go after some of the things that are very difficult, like commodity codes, valuation class, assignment groups. These things that are difficult, and sometimes you can have quality issues. We don't have quality issues anymore. They're all 100% correct now. And that's a big deal. On top of that, if you look at when you develop these UNSPSC classes, we develop recipes so that it can generate the text as well for purchase order text and sales order text, so that you automatically have a standard way of representing the material. And on top of that, then it automatically does the translation into 37 languages, or I think 34 languages. So this type of automation is quite powerful, and this is one of the things that we saw with the MDG platform that we were able to achieve. Another type of automation, one of the most common things that we do with materials, and we have, like I said, like you saw from the previous slide, we have millions of materials. One of the most common things we do is extend materials, and extending it to other plants and this type of activity. This activity typically used to take 2 days long to achieve. We'd finish about 90% of them within 2 days. Now, almost all of them, greater than 80%, are done within 10 minutes. It's all automatic. And this we were able to automate through with the MDG. So again, this is a double win, because this not only helps the master data teams, but it also helps the business. They get this done faster. They're able to, especially in the case of parts, this is where usually we have a customer that wants to buy something, we need to ship it to them. We need to do it as quickly as possible because they have a machine down and they need help right away. So this is something that is very appreciated. And we're trying to take this type of automation, like in the, say, first example, and then extend it to customer and vendor as well. It's not as easy. Materials, ironically, we found to be much simpler to do this with. Customer and vendor, there are some fields that can be automatically derived. Right now, I think our automation rates are around 13, 14%, but we're hoping to get that to around 20, maybe 25%, if we're, depending upon how clever we think we are. And if we can get that, again, all of this productivity, and this makes it so that the business doesn't have to input this data anymore, and we don't have to worry about it from the central master data side either. So it's a win-win. So, in summary, were we successful with what we're trying to do? Well, if our top data priority to get ready for for S4 HANA is to get everything clean and keep it clean, Well, this is where the MDG platform really has helped us because it's freeing up resources, badly needed resources that we need, because we do still have, we can't pretend like everything's perfect. We still have to clean things. There's still a lot of old historic data that needs to be cleaned up. And in order to do that, you need resources. Well, the automation is really helping us to free up those resources. And on top of it, we have the kind of peace of mind to know that any future materials that we're creating are created in a good, robust way with high quality. So from that standpoint, definitely. And then we've also been able to, we've really been able to get that ready. And then, I'm sorry, I can't read that last slide, last one. And then one-click extension. In particular, that one I think has been the biggest thing because, like I said, almost by 2 to 1, that's the biggest activity that we do. It saves time for the business. It's saving time for us. And from that standpoint, I mean, putting in place a governance platform is painful. As you saw, it took us 4 years to do it. So it's not like it's something that you can just decide to do and it's real fast. But it really does pay dividends in the end. Besides all the normal things about being able to govern your data, there are some additional benefits, and we've been able to find some of them. And with that,